Hello and welcome to another episode of the Odyssey Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Marley. This is an Ithaka Media podcast. My guest today is my new pal, my new friend, Brandon. He's from Temper Consulting, which is a professional development and recruitment company. Brandon, I want to welcome you to the show. I really appreciate you coming along.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate having me on.
No, good to speak to you. And I guess like what, pretty much what I ask everyone and what I really want to ask you is like in your field, being in the career space, what I guess motivated you and inspired you to want to be in that space? Like what?
Yeah.
Tell us a story about
that. Okay. Yeah. Good question. I kind of fell into it accidentally, as a lot of recruiters do. So a big kind of differentiating piece with Temper is we're a consultancy that offers recruitment. We're not a recruitment consultancy.
Yeah.
So we do recruitment as a service, but ultimately what we're focused on is people's careers, workforce health, leadership health, what it looks like, that intersection of people and work. How do we help optimize that as best as possible so that everyone loves doing what they do? I had a whole bunch of different careers and jobs, and I think, we've spoken in the past about I'm a butcher by trade.
Yeah.
And I was a chef, and then I was in production, lighting and sound, and I worked in disability support. I worked in education. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. And the common thread there was I was always able to get a job. And whether it was just my ability to have conversations, my confidence in myself and my ability to learn, or maybe that was always my career, that I was just really good at getting another career. That's kind of how I fell into it. I also started to kind of fall in love with finding a good career or finding a purposeful career when I was doing the youth support stuff, because I found the kids that were most engaged, the kids that ended up more successful in the programs that we were doing, were the ones that had some form of idea of what they wanted to do with their career one day. And so that kind of created this, it got my attention. Okay, why is it that some people have a form of purpose and can follow that, and other people kind of fall into things? No one being more successful than the other, but what creates a successful career? That was exciting for me. So we are here now, I guess, out of just a natural progression in my life.
Yeah, no, awesome. I love it. And because, we've spoken a lot about this, off mic, off camera, whatever you want to call it. And, hence why, again, I wanted to introduce you, not as he's the recruiter, Brandon, because I know how passionate you are about the side of it is coaching, for lack of a better word, just that, developing and having an enthusiasm around, I guess leading people on the pathway of what they want to do in their life, how they want to be fulfilled, because I remember we chatted about how much of our life we're working, and just how important it is to be fulfilled in that. And we'll talk. I've got some questions around that, so we'll talk about that. But tell us about the name Temper, because I froth how especially your meaning, but cool. I love hearing how people come up with their company name. And you did tell me about Temper, but I would love if you could share where that comes from and how you came up with that.
Okay, so Temper, the company, was registered in 2018. The idea started in probably 2016. I had left the school I was working at, and we were working with at-risk youth. I wanted to do something like that, but once they had turned 18, then what? So kind of that progression on, and it was more coaching than anything else, and career coaching. And it was going to be called Endgame. And the idea was gamify the whole process, and what is the end game for that person?
Yeah.
So the end game in your career, the end game in what you're doing now. Didn't really stick. It also didn't really make sense because in the philosophy of what we've developed, especially now, there isn't really an end. In your career. Sure, of course, there's retirement. You end up finishing in careers, but there shouldn't be an end point in the pursuit of it. More than anything, there's a process. So my granddad, or my grandparents on both sides, both males on both sides, were in blacksmithing, welding, forging metal, that kind of stuff. And in conversation was talking to him about this, and one of my friends at the time had mentioned the name temper, and it's an homage or an image of tempering steel. So to temper steel as a blacksmith, and for any blacksmiths out there, I'm sorry if I totally butcher this. Pun as well. Yeah, good. Yeah. I'm good at that. But tempering steel, it's this idea of a process of taking metal as it is, putting it through this process of heating, forging, smashing, bending. When you temper it, quench it, you're putting temper on. So you're changing the temperature of, you're changing the composition of, and you're bringing the very best qualities out of the metal. What you end with is a piece of metal, a tool, whether we're talking about a knife or a hammer or whatever, that is built for purpose, is valuable, and is able to do what it's meant to do. And for us, we believe that in individual people. That's what we do with coaching. We believe that in the companies we work with, that every company has a purpose, and oftentimes it loses its temper. What we mean by that is you can lose your temper if you don't heat it or you don't treat it the right way. And what that ends up doing is it creates a very brittle, tough but brittle piece of metal. When you temper something, it ends up becoming resilient, which means it can bend, but it won't break.
Yeah.
It won't permanently deform. It always comes back.
Yeah, it can adjust to the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that process, when you go into a career, when you go into a new job, when you get a new person on, when you're part of a team, let's take recruitment as an example. If I place a person and I think that that's the end of the journey, that's naive, especially if that person thinks that as well. If that person thinks, cool, I got this job. It's my dream job. It's naive to think that that's the end point. In what we do with our coaching, we're coaching people to become able to do the thing that they need to do for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I've seen way too many people burn out in careers. Again, being in a butcher, being in hospitality as a chef, you see people burn out so quick.
All the time, I bet, yeah.
My wife's a teacher. I see teachers leave all the time. We were in hospital recently because my brand new daughter came.
Yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you, yeah. But you see even hearing nurses talk about burnout. So,
stuff, yeah.
But then you see people who have a purpose attached to what they do, and they're a lot more resilient. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but purpose and having a tempered approach to what you do, it definitely makes it easier.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, like, as you're sort of saying before, like it sounds like your journey as far as like what you're actually doing with Temper began before Temper even existed. But can you tell us like when Temper actually formed and what's the journey been so far?
Yeah, so we registered the company name in 2018. It took me another 2 years to get the courage to go full time, but in that time we had kind of gone out and we tried to do online programs and one-on-one coaching and working with universities and schools and tried all of it, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. And 2020 I went full time, quit my full-time job, and we're going to get real now. October 1st, 2020, I quit my job, and then COVID happens, and then November 1st, 2020, my mum passed away, suddenly, out of nowhere, and I was and still definitely am a big mama's boy, so that was tough, and then my then, at the time, business partner decided he didn't really want to be a part of it anymore, and that was amicable, that was okay. He knew family, had a career ahead of him, wanted to do that, and as we both know, the entrepreneur world is not for everyone. My risk appetite has always been really high, so I didn't hold it against him at all. I still really respect him. He helped come up with the name Temper, lots of respect for him, but he decided it wasn't the right time either, and so for 6 months or so, I just kind of wallowed in self-pity. The first 6 months was not pretty. Then my very wise wife decided to throw a flag on the play and say, maybe you should go back to work. And so I started working. I was a coach at the time, so I started looking for coaching roles and ended up working with this company as a job coach, and then progressed into working as almost a reverse recruiter in disability support.
Right.
So helping people with disabilities find jobs. So I'd go out and speak to the companies about why it's good to hire this person. I really enjoyed that. I ended up getting headhunted and going into white collar recruitment, specifically in technology, and was doing that for about a year. And then got an opportunity with my business partners to pick Temper back up and dust it off and give it another go. And so we were doing career coaching while I was doing recruitment at this other company, and we started getting clients, and people were really interested in what we're doing. There was a use case, and my business partners said, why don't we go full-time with the recruitment thing as well? So April 2022, we went full-time with tech recruitment as a service, and 18 months later, more than 18 months, 18 months? Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're getting
almost.
there.
Yeah. We have 6 staff, more coming on board, a whole bunch of amazing clients. Services have grown, working across Australia, looking at expanding into overseas, and loving every minute.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really great. Like, and just to hear again, like the journey, like the challenges that come along that period, like things that are out of your control and things like that. But then coming to, a very booming and growing business, which is really exciting.
Yeah. I think we've as I was saying, as we're walking in, we're kind of at that turning point now. Yeah. Everything has caught. The spark has turned into a little flame, and it's growing, which is really exciting. But it's been 5 years of just. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, go for it.
5 years of a rashy shit.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of where it's just eating shit for 5 years, and still believing that this idea, this philosophy that we're kind of trying to live in with Temper, will eventually become a thing.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a thing. I still don't think it's all the way there, but that's the exciting thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like just on that, because we're talking, like you said, 5 years of that period, and there were plenty of times when you could have easily given up, right? Like, I guess what was it that kept you going, basically? Like, then you came to this point, because it's all roses when this had happened in the first 6 months, but it obviously didn't. Like it. I guess what was it that sort of like, it was just something about the way you approached it from your mindset, or
I'd like to say something really profound and cool that would make me sound great, but I think the honest truth is a little bit of pride, that I just I was too stubborn to give up. I also my chip on my shoulder is that I have to prove that I'm good. So if I'm talking about if I'm honest, that's probably a big part of it. The other part is the belief of the thing.
Yeah.
I've got too much pride in myself, and not in myself. Like I'm too stubborn to let something that I think could work go.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it fully formed. I still don't have it fully formed. I've got it workable, but it's evolving all the time. And as new people come on and become part of it, even as we talk, like I'm starting to see, it's kind of like turning, that crystal analogy. You got a crystal in your hand, you turn it, and different light particles come through, and you're seeing different images. That's kind of what this is like. So as you and I talk, I'm like, there's synergy, and there's things that we could do together. There's this thing's growing again. But I think I was too proud. It also, there was risk in terms of like social risk or reputational risk, but consultancies and service-based businesses, you're not putting a lot of money into it. So it also wasn't one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to go bankrupt if I don't let this go. I could still hold it because it was low cost.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. If it was like a failing restaurant, I probably would have wrapped it up way quicker. But because it was just IP, I could hold on to it. And just having good people around me as well. Like when I went in to do recruitment and stuff, my wife, I was like, oh, maybe I should just close Tampa. She's like, no, hold on to it. There's something there. Just wait for it. And then when I met my new business partners, they were the same. They saw an opportunity and the possibility of what it could be. So equal part pride and stubbornness and equal part people that believed in me.
Yeah. Like, so what's, I guess, the value of having the people, the close people around you anyway, being supportive, like whether it be family, like in your case, your wife, and other family members, or like close friends, colleagues, and things like that. What's sort of the value of that for people? Like, what's your advice around that?
Yeah, like quantifiably, it's priceless. One of the things I did leading up to going full time with Temple was go and do like a coaching degree or coaching course. It was 18 months. It was advanced coaching, psychology stuff. It was really, really useful. But one of the things they talk about, the usefulness of a coach, and I'd also say the usefulness of a community, is when you don't have courage, you can borrow theirs. And so
that's massive, yeah.
I didn't have the courage to go and try again, but I could borrow my wife's courage for a bit. I could borrow my business partner's courage for a bit until I found my own. And I think that's what a good community does.
Yeah.
Is even if my wife was freaking out on the inside, like, how are we going to make this work? She didn't show that to me. Same as my business partners. They took the time, they took the chance, where they could, they could have looked at the first month and go, oh, we're not profitable, better close up. They're successful business people and they understand the length of time that things need to take. So they wouldn't have done that.
But they could have easily.
They could have.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can be led by fear sometimes, but they weren't. And so I was able to borrow their courage and their experience in business, that they know things take time. You need to try things. You need to spend money. You need to spend time. You need to risk. And still now, I'm like, where we look at hiring these new people or trying out this new service, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work. They go, we won't know, we don't try. So, okay, cool. I'm going to borrow your courage for a minute. I'm going to go try. Hey, it worked. Great. You can have that back. I've got my own now. So I think having a community around you does that. It also helps you be challenged in the right environment. So you have people that you trust enough to challenge you properly. My wife can speak to me like I'm a piece of crap, and I trust her and love her, and I know that she's not trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
So she can call me
So
out.
you mean, I was going to say, like, calling out, so like not always say, like, just being like a nodding, you're right.
Yeah. I'll go home and I'm like, oh, I've thought about this. I want to go into this industry. She's like, oh, why? Oh, because of this opportunity. Yeah, but you've got no experience in it. Yeah, well, you're right. And then we kind of talk through it, and it's not her saying, no, don't do it. It's her saying, why?
Yeah,
how,
actually, running you through the thought process of like, is that a good idea or not? Like, yeah.
Which, she's a teacher, and it makes her a great teacher. So
yeah,
she's good at pulling that out. Yeah.
He knows it. No, good stuff. I mean, we alluded to it before, but I want to talk a bit about the importance of fulfillment in work and actually finding that, like, in your experience when you have coached people, I guess, what's your advice for people to, search for that, discover that, and I guess, how do you know when that, like, you are fulfilled in your work, how important is that?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so fulfillment does not mean happiness. It's a big one.
Yeah, I chose that word specifically.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Because I hear a lot of people talking about happiness at work.
Yeah.
And I think it's naive to search for happiness all the time. You can be happy for sure, but fulfillment, purposefulness in what you do is big. And I think it's connected to meaning, too many people, I think, use purpose and meaning interchangeably, and they're not the same thing. Meaning is you're doing something meaningful. So meaningful could be important to me. And so I think it talks to how we do something, but purposefulness is a why we do something.
Right. Okay.
So why is fulfillment important? How do we find that? It kind of goes back to my journey and my experience. And it comes down to, what are you willing to eat shit for? So, we're in a startup environment. One of the big things they talk about when, looking at the next idea to start a startup or to build a business is to either focus on the pain or the pleasure, right? So what pain are you solving? What pleasure are you providing? So I think fulfillment comes down to what activates that. What pleasure, what pain can you solve that will bring you pleasure?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, for example, I have had a lot of people in my life that have gone from job to job to job, career to career, because they don't know what they want to do. And then when they finally find the thing that they love doing, they're that thing forever. That spark excites me, because they could be paid, next to nothing, but still love what they do, and they don't care about the money. That's really, really rare, especially now, because everyone's talking, especially in the environment we're in, where it's a really high demand for skilled workers and really low supply, that the skilled workers can just kind of ask for whatever they want and they'll get it, which is creating this greedy market. So we're all driven by money, but the ones who will have sustainable fulfillment in what they do are the ones who aren't attached to it. And I often find those are the ones that end up making more money.
Right. Yeah. And is it a case of like, in the examples that you've seen, like how do people find that? Is it a case of going out there and trying different things, and it's not until they've done it? Is that sort of
I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
I know people who wanted to be teachers when they were kids, and they're teachers now and they love it. I know people who wanted to be in the army and are in the army. But I also know people who wanted to be astronauts and then now they're in recruitment. Right? Like, I think it is, humans, we're all different. There is no cookie cutter. I mean, if we're looking at the tempering process, there is a tempering process, but it's different for all the different kinds of metal you use. You can put different kinds of tempering on metal. So you've got to work with what you have. So it's the same thing with us as people. I love videography. I love cinematography, but I couldn't do what you do. I love helping people learn, but I couldn't be a teacher. So it's about finding the weird intersection for you. I think that's the important thing. It's not a career. The word career comes from the same word as carriage or car. So it's a vehicle that's going to help us get to a destination. And so I think we just need to figure out what the destination is for us and what fulfillment looks like, and then find the car or the carriage or the career that will get us there.
Yeah, beautiful. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about employer branding a bit?
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, because that's something we spoke at quite length about, like, and there's sort of an intersection with what we do as far as the the branding piece around what makes a company attractive to employees and high quality talent. I guess my question to you would be, like, what are some of the things that elevate a brand for a company, like from an employer point of view, and what are some of the things that you advise on in that regard, like generally speaking, of course?
Well, it comes down to, employer branding is about essentially selling the opportunity to people, right? So if we're looking at the, essentially you're trying to attract people in to come work at your company. If I look at Temper as an example, so the end goal is that someone comes to work for Temper. Not just work, but adds value. They fit. They're everything that we're looking for, and we're everything they're looking for. It's a partnership. Employer branding, I think. Okay, we talk about when we're trying to help people find a job, we talk about the 4 Ps. So there's purpose, people, pay or profit, depending on what you want to look at, and perks. So if you're figuring out the intersection of what you're trying to attract in terms of those 4 Ps, that'll be a good place to start. So for example, purpose. If I am a startup that works specifically in vet tech, well then the kind of person I'm trying to attract is someone who wants to help animals, animal welfare. That's a purpose piece, right? Yeah. The next thing is people. So I'm trying to attract people that are fun-loving, teamwork, all about collaboration and building something, people that aren't too serious. So that's the kind of person I'm looking for. Pay. Well, I'm a startup. So I want someone with the right skill set, but also isn't going to completely break the bank. And someone who's more attached to purpose and people than they are pay. Yeah. Because I'm a startup. Yeah. But also people that are attached to the future payoff, which goes into perks. Because if you're in a startup, you're likely to get some sort of profit share or whatever else. And the perks is all the other little bits, the quirky bits with your company. So it could be, hey, we work in the office 2 days a week instead of 5. But you can work from home, and because we are a vet tech company, we're going to pay for all your vet bills if you have a pet. If you don't have a pet, we'll buy you a pet. Like weird little things like that. Yeah. That can go a long way for those kinds of people that you're attracting. So I think in terms of employer branding, one of the biggest things about branding, full stop, is you're trying to start a conversation with the mass. As Temper, one of the things that we had to overcome, that's why we did things like Pentafest and sponsoring that, and that's why we're out in the market quite violently is the word that's in my head, but
aggressively,
yeah, there we go, yeah, violently, Temper. But because we're trying to start a story about Temper, we're trying to get that in people's minds, because the biggest thing that all companies struggle with at the beginning, and sometimes ongoing, is no one knows who you are.
100%, yeah.
So employer branding is about not just getting people to know who you are, but getting the people that you want to work with you to know who you are and to align with that and to see themselves there. Yeah. Because they don't just want to know that you hire that specific company, that specific kind of person. They want to know that you want to hire them. Because when people go, oh, that's me, they're marketing to me. I'm a data person that loves working on big complex problems, but wants to work in a startup environment with all the same kind of people as me, and we get to do Star Wars Lego at lunch and go and eat the Japanese restaurant around the corner. That's where I want to work. Branding like that goes a long way in attracting the right people that are going to add to your team.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Again, and I guess, like you said, it's a similar thing of the imagination of actually working with that company, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
As far as like putting yourself into like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. Like, identifying that. I guess it's the same way we watch movies, right? Like the same way we watch films, like it's that hero's journey. It's like, oh, yeah, that's just like me.
Yeah, you know what? Some of the best sales products out there do that. I mean, we wear glasses. One of the best things ever is this app that lets you try glasses on.
Yes, I've used that.
Right?
I love it. It's great.
So you take a little photo and you're kind of looking around and it tracks your face. That's brilliant. Yeah. And I think that's what employer branding should be. That the person sees himself there and goes, oh, I could be here. Yeah. I could work here. This could be my life. Yeah. I think taking that app approach to employer branding would change the market. Yeah. Where you're helping people see themselves in the hero's journey at that place. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, it's giving me all sorts of ideas.
Yeah, me too.
Are we going to make an app?
That's it. Well, another startup.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. I alluded to it at the beginning before we started recording, but I've got some Mythbusters prepared.
Come on.
I think we've got time for a bit of fun,
Let's do it.
So yeah, like I got a whole bunch of like myths around like careers and sort of the professional
Yeah,
career space effectively, and like I just want you to riff off of like
let's
have
do
a
it.
couple of ideas. So the first one we'll go with is a university degree essential for a successful career?
Yeah, depends on the career. Yeah, you want to be a doctor? Yeah, probably pretty crucial. If you want to be a startup entrepreneur, it's almost a rite of passage to drop out. So yeah, I think it depends. It definitely depends. I recruit in technology at the moment, and there are definitely companies that require a person to have a degree, computer science, data, whatever. But there are other companies that are willing to take a chance on someone that is self-taught, because for some people, coding, programming, data analysis, that kind of stuff, it is something that you can teach yourself. And it's something that specific people love doing. I'm sure you guys. Do you go to university for film as well?
I did,
yeah.
but
you taught yourself before, right?
Well, yeah, and then afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty that's like in my own experience, like as far as the technical skills go, I almost learnt none of it at university. And that's not to bag it or anything like that.
No.
There's plenty of great things I got out of my university experience. But that being said, it's like for other industries, I'm sure it's the same. So
yeah, I think university, TAFE, a trade, anything like that is important because it gives you a framework for what you're doing.
Sure.
It gives you a network. It also, if you finish, builds self-trust that you can start a thing and finish a thing.
Yeah.
Those are big things. When I started my trade when I was a kid, I wanted to quit after year one, and my dad was like, you need to finish the trade. Even if you don't want to do it again, just finish the trade, because once you've done that, you'll know that you can do something.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. And I often fall back on that. If I'm worried that I'm starting something, exactly. Yeah. It's just integrity. Integrity is like being able to like do what you say you're going to do.
Follow through what you're going to do. Yeah.
So if you go and do a university degree, and to all those out there that dropped out, I dropped out of university as well. So it's okay. There are some things that I did do and some things that I didn't do. But
no, but I've never thought about it that way. I think that's a really good piece of advice. But this next one I'm actually really keen to hear, because we were sort of talking about it before. It's, job hopping is detrimental to your career prospects. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Ooh, again, it depends.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah.
So we work with, and it also depends on.
Are there companies that frown on that? Like, I assume there would be, right? Because it's like sort of like, where's the loyalty, right?
Well, okay, so tech again is a really interesting one, because we have a lot of contractors in tech. There's a lot of people that take short-term contracts.
Yeah.
So software development here, software development there, because they're either building a project or part of a project, or building an application or something.
Yeah.
Which is a start and stop. There's a timeline to it. So yeah, I think it does depend. But my personal experience is it gives you transferable and borrowable skills. There's this book by this guy called James Altucher. It's called Skip the Line. And he talks about the 10,000 hour rule can be shortcutted by introducing a 10,000 experiments rule, which is all the things that we've done in the past, we can collectively merge them together. And that can be, we can borrow skills and borrow hours from other things we've done to help us to do that thing. So it's, if I look at a resume and someone's got 23 different jobs that they've done over the past 10 years, at first you go, oh, they've hopped around a lot. But you see the trajectory of someone that has stayed in the same industry for a long time. Where companies are worried is that, are they going to be loyal to stay with us for X amount of time? Because employers want the sure thing. They want someone that's going to come in and stay there for however long.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to hire a person if it's not short-term contract. Those people that do short-term contracts end up, unfortunately, becoming mercenaries. Right? They'll come in, they'll do a thing, they'll leave, and they'll go. Because some people work that way. Some people enjoy that. But other people want the long-term security, the long-term engagement. So it just does depend on what you want your career to look like. If you want a stable career, if you want to work in a big company, those big companies, they typically look for people that have stayed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. This next one is it's around networking. So networking is only important during a job search. Thoughts?
No, networking is important always, because networking gives you access to people that think different to you. It gives you access to people that have different experiences. Gives you access to people who have access to other people. You want a job now, great. You go in, you're there for 2 years, and you haven't networked again. Then all of a sudden you're redundant, or you want to change jobs or something. Most people will then go, okay, well, who's got the network? A recruiter. Now, I don't want to do myself out of a job, but your job search will be way easier if you have a network of people you can call on when it's time to move. And beyond that, you just want a community around you. Like, networking is networking. Yeah, it's building
back
community.
To what we were speaking about before. Yeah, building a community, and we were speaking with someone earlier around just the value of having different perspectives on even in the same industry, just different perspectives on looking at different problems.
Big time.
So love it. Well, speaking about putting yourself out of a job, maybe I'll skip this question. Oh no, artificial intelligence will replace human recruiters in the future.
Oh, good.
What's your thoughts on that? Actually,
I had a big, in-depth conversation with someone about this who loves all the AI stuff. I don't know. I think that AI has created too much uncertainty to be able to look in a crystal ball and say, yes, that's what's going to happen. I think people always want to talk to people. Not all the time. I definitely know that some people, especially in tech, like just going through the process and getting the job. Some people just want the transaction. Other people are worried about what the next step is. Other people don't know. So they need someone that might know, that can give them ideas, can give them access to information, can give them insight in the market. And sometimes being subjective in the market is a good thing. So what's your opinion here? But if you ask ChatGPT, what's your opinion on this? It's not going to give an opinion.
Yeah, that's right.
So I can pick up nuances in the conversations I have and say, I think this is going to happen. But because none of that's public information yet, it's just what I've picked up in my interactions, and my ability to read a situation or read a pattern of conversation that someone is having with another person, or the fact that this person has left and so now there's a gap there. AI might not pick that up. Might not. It might if it had access to all the information, but I also think, and this might be controversial, but I also think that eventually there will come a point where we will want to turn the machine off because it's going to get too scary.
Yeah.
So, but by then, we'll probably be too late. And that's not like a doom and gloom Skynet Terminator thing. I think it's just going to get to the point where we've automated too much. And it has created extremely profitable companies, but profitable companies that can run without people. And then at that point we'll go, we've kind of ruined it. So then we'll look at things like a universal allowance and salary to kind of pay for the fact that people aren't able to do what they are good at doing. So it's going to be a really interesting kind of 10 to 20 years.
And like obviously, like each of us, like that's why I love asking the question, because it's really interesting to hear it from like a recruiter's. I hadn't thought of it from a recruitment context, you know. So
well, to say that, also, ever since recruitment became a thing, like traditional recruitment as we know it now has been around really since the night. Like as we know it, it's been around since ancient Egypt.
Yeah, sure.
Because recruiting for armies, right?
Yeah.
But as we know it now, came post World War II.
Okay.
So the first like employment company or like labor hire company was started in like 1941. Can't remember.
Yeah.
but I've got a book about it. But ever since then, people have tried to replace it with the most recent technologies. In Perth right now, there are a handful of companies that their claim to fame is we're getting rid of recruiters. They have always existed. And I thought maybe we should do that with Temper. So I'm not about holding on to the recruitment thing. I started my own recruitment agency because it needs to change.
Yeah.
There's a transactionality. There's a sneakiness and a snakiness in what some people do that I don't like. And some of that needs to be taken out. But I think that we need to solve that problem with a people approach instead of a technology approach. Because just replacing people with tech doesn't solve the issue. In fact, we're just replacing the transactionality with humans with a robot.
Yeah.
So recruitment should be a relational thing. But it's hard to do that when there's a dollar amount attached. Because if I say to you, go build a relationship with a person and it might equate to X amount of money, or speak to as many people as possible and you're more likely to make more money. People will be greedy naturally because I can make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. But when you've got that trade-off of a relationship with someone that you might end up helping, or the sure thing of getting money in your account, it's easier to go with the sure thing.
Yeah, again, it goes back to that certainty, doesn't it? So, there's a couple here that we can go through. I don't know if I'll do them all, but this one I'm actually keen to hear because it's something I've spoken about with older folk. Is like you make sense. It makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Changing careers later in life is too risky.
Well.
Yeah, again, it's that certainty piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's a case of not being sure if you're going to be hired because based on your age, and like I don't know if it's something you've experienced, maybe you don't see it so much in the technology space, being like, because I'm assuming it's obviously a younger generation that dominate. I could be wrong, but there definitely is age discrimination.
100%.
Not overtly, but as far as
sometimes overtly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that? Is that?
Again, depends on what career. Now, if you're a little bit older and you go, you know what, I'm going to go back to school and become a teacher or become, something where age holds authority, age holds respect. That's a good thing. We just spoke about tech and how there's a little bit of age discrimination there. 100% is, because a lot of the conversations I have with some of my clients is, we're looking for a young gun, right? What they've just said is we don't want an old person.
Yeah.
Or older person. Changing into technology as an older person, I'm talking maybe over 50, is hard. It's not impossible. I know a lot of people that have done it and have done incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I also think technology is one of those things that if you do it properly, is something that is not necessarily learned. It's like this inbuilt, the way that you think. It's like a mechanism of seeing the world. I'm not like that. I can't code and program like some of the people that work with us.
Yeah.
But I also know older people who have been in the military or in, had some form of career before, and they come in and they are technically minded, and they come in and they bring all of that with them. And the company is so much better because of it.
Yeah. And it's like what you were saying before, like the candidate who's potentially had 23 plus different jobs. Yep. They're bringing a certain level of experience that stacked up together, can actually be really valuable to a company, hey?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. So I think, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe it is risky. But it doesn't mean it shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
If you feel like that, going back to that purpose piece, if you feel like I would get fulfillment and purpose and enjoyment from this work, you should go do that, even if it is risky.
Yeah. Okay. Like it. I'll do one more of these myths because I think this is an interesting one.
Yeah. Okay.
Is personal branding is only necessary for entrepreneurs or freelancers?
Oh.
That's something I'm curious about that. What's
Okay.
your thoughts on that? Because I feel like there's an importance. Like, I mean, I guess define what personal branding is,
Well, yeah,
really. Like,
yeah. Personal branding is getting attention.
yeah.
We live in the attention age, right?
Mm.
So where so many people are online all the time, posting all the time, your business is directly attached to you. If you're a founder, yes, 100%. Now, if you're just in a job, let's say a software developer, it's actually really important. Do you know one of the number one things most people are asking me to see now? Their GitHub. What's that person's GitHub? You know what a GitHub is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So they want to see their repositories. They want to see the work of that person. That is a form of branding. That person is showing what they've done. We've also worked with people that, they want a project manager and they say, oh, we want someone that has some form of, either they're doing events or they're speaking or whatever. And there are plenty of people who do that and don't publicly post it.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you don't publicly post it, no one really knows that you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you go to the gym. If you don't take a photo, no
That's
one
right.
knows you're there.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what my friend said to me the other day. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Or if you're wearing the what's it called, the muscle, where you wear a big baggy shirt, so no one can see.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like you've done all the work underneath, but no one really knows that it's there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So I think employee branding, personal branding is really important. Some of the best candidates, best employees we've ever worked with are the ones that once a day, maybe even once every 3 days, put something on LinkedIn. Just share their opinion about something.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask. Like, is it a lot of effort? Like, because, someone might be listening and go, oh, gee, that sounds like a lot of effort to put together this personal brand. Like, is it as simple as that? Like, just sort of I guess just having a opening up a little bit of what you're sort of, I guess what you consider private to let people see. Like, I am doing a speaking gig, or yes, this is what I think on this new piece of technology or whatever it may be. Is it simple as doing things like that?
From personal experience, it is difficult because I'm a person that naturally likes to be anonymous. I don't like attention. I don't like attention on me. I was in production and stuff before, so I was behind the camera.
Yeah, no, I'm similar. I do this podcast.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, truly, like that's by nature. Yeah, like you sort of have to force yourself to.
Yep.
And it's like, again, it comes down to like, what's the intent of doing it? Like,
exactly.
What are we doing it for?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and so it comes down, for me, doing that means that people are more aware of what I do. And then if they engage me, I'm more likely to help them because they know that I can help them. But if I'm going to all these speaking gigs and I'm doing this and that and I'm helping all these amazing people and working with international, Fortune 500 companies and I'm doing all this amazing work, but no one knows that I do it, I can't continue doing that for people because eventually those opportunities run out if I don't market. So if you want your career to grow exponentially, I think employee branding or personal branding is the key. Because the more people, Perth, right? It's all about who you know. I think it's all about who knows that you can do that thing.
That's really powerful. Because I must have a conversation daily. Oh, Perth, small place. Like, this,
it is.
Yeah.
But if they know that you can provide value, they're more likely to share with other people that you can provide that value. But only knowing people will only get you so far. Because I could be the worst recruiter in the world, but I'm really good at branding. And so people start recommending me, but I never deliver. Yeah. And they're going to stop recommending me.
Very quickly that falls down.
Right?
Yeah.
But if my work speaks for itself, it's going to exponentially grow.
Yeah.
It's happening now. Not a little plug that I'm the best recruiter ever, because I'm not. But we're good at what we do.
Yeah.
And so,
and then people are coming to you and saying, "Help me." Like,
that's right.
Can you help in this? Like we were just talking about before. You help me in this industry. Like, yeah,
it's good.
Awesome. We're coming to the end of the episode, Brandon, but there was something I wanted to ask you because, like, I ask this to a lot of my guests as far as like when we talk about this journey, we've touched on it a lot today. Is there someone in your life that's been a big inspiration to you, and or whether it be guiding you or mentoring you? Is there someone that you can think of that has been a big impact on your journey?
Oh man, so many. I'd get in trouble if I didn't plug my wife. Yeah, so my wife is my hero. She's super inspirational, comes from not a lot, first person in her family ever to get a uni degree. Incredible, like the hardest work ethic. And I thought mine was good. And my dad's a bricklayer and all that sort of stuff. So I've seen work, and she outworks all of us. So Jess, but the one person that comes to mind most, and there are lots of people out there, and if I don't mention you, I'm very sorry, I love you. But his name's James Bryant. You may have seen him around. He has this company called Lead Different.
I can't say. I may recognize him, but I'll look him up after this anyway.
Yeah, and I think if you get him on your podcast, it will be a time. He's brilliant. He helped me through a bunch of stuff. I was involved in this community that was not great, and I was not in a good mindset when I was there, and he helped me out of that. He's always been the kind of person that if I'm in some sort of problem, predicament, I don't know a way forward, I can call him and he helps me get through it. He has a company called Lead Different where he does this commercially. He does this for big companies, small companies, everyone. James has helped me a lot. Yeah. He's definitely a mentor, definitely an inspiration, definitely a really good friend.
Fantastic. No, we'll have to learn more about James. Maybe
Definitely.
I can get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And then the other thing as well, like, is there any book you'd recommend, or books if there's more than one that you'd recommend to our audience? One that's been either stood out to you or been a help to you as well.
Yeah, there are two, and one is going to be controversial. It's the Bible. Specifically,
I think you'd be hard pressed to find. I feel like regardless of what your religious beliefs are, like, you should read the Bible.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've read the Torah, the Quran. I've read many religious texts. The Bible, specifically in business, we're talking about things that help. The Book of Proverbs. It's all about wisdom, written by the wisest and richest man who ever lived, King Solomon. It's documented. That's super helpful. And then there's big one for me was The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah.
Big one. Yeah. Because very easy for me to look at things and see it as just an obstacle. When you can reframe it and see it as not just an opportunity, it's very cliche, but as something that will help you get better, regardless of an outcome. Even if the obstacle is just going to completely derail you. If I went through something and it completely just shut down temper, but I had the wisdom to stop and look at it and learn what I could. I often talk about if I went to jail, right? Like, what happens if I went to jail? Complete derailment of everything.
Yeah.
My commercial, professional life, probably gone, right? You lose all credibility.
Yeah.
I'd come out jacked with having read 1,000 books. I like to think that I would. I don't know. But I'd like to think that if I went through something like that, I'd be able to
You'd
take
get the most out of it.
I'd get the most out of it.
Yeah.
And so that book is a constant read for me.
Yeah. Great, and that goes back to the tempering, like getting distracted.
The whole tempering philosophy is something we're building. Like, it's very connected to Stoicism.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend Meditations by Marcus Aurelius as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. No, great. I think they're all great recommendations. Really want to thank you for coming along, Brandon, and I hope we'll be able to get you on. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of things we could talk about.
Definitely,
we could be talking about hours. But before we wrap it up, how can people find yourself and Temper as well if they want to learn more?
Yeah, Brandon Secomb, so Brandon Secomb. I'm the only one on most social media. Temperconsulting.com. New website's up. Have a look at that. Temper.life is our Instagram. Temper Consulting, Temper Talent. You can look at all those. That's where to find us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There we go. Again, we really want to thank you, Brandon, and those links will be in the bio for those who are listening. But till next time, really appreciate you coming on.
Cool. I appreciate having me. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks.